Selecting load. We talk often about different lifts, different mechanics, different strategies, all of this. I get asked often, how are you selecting the load that your clients are going to lift? Is there a national database that shows what the average 50-year-old can deadlift, what the average 60-year-old can bench press, what the average 70-year-old can row? No, I haven't found anything that is consistent enough outside of individual gyms who've recorded their average records. Nothing that has collaborated with many different facilities and found averages. If there's something out there, I would love to see it. But to my current status and know-how, I don't know, and I'm not aware of anything like that. So what do we use in-house? How do we decide what weights our clients should, could, can be using as we go through our training programs? We have 3 rules, and they are simple. When you go through it, you're like, okay, this all makes sense. It's very simple. The key is you have to have all 3. It can't just be 1 or 2. It has to be all 3 of them. And when you do all 3, then we can say this is exactly how strong this individual is. We're not allowing the standard that we're holding to go down. We're not allowing momentum and cheat mechanics to come in. There's, and I'm jumping the shark here a little bit. I'll give it to you, okay? So number 1, we select our load and we will rate that load based on an RPE, a rate of perceived exertion. I don't like 1 rep maxes. If you're seeking out a 1 rep max with somebody over the age of 50 and they have never trained, more than likely you're going to hurt that individual. Even if it's a projected 1 rep max, I still think your risk is very, very high. It's not worth the return. If you're working with someone over the age of 50 who is trained, who has been trained, you still need to make sure you're putting in a good 12 to even 24 weeks of maximal training efforts to make sure when you do go for that max effort, you truly get it. Number 1, we don't get hurt doing it. This could be an 8 rep projected 1 rep. It could be a 5 rep projected 1 rep. It could be a 3 rep projected 1 rep. It could be a truly 1 rep max. Again, after the age of 50, I feel like we're fighting for the average person. I'm not talking about Herschel Walker, who's still a machine at 60 years old or whatnot. We're talking about the average individual. I think we're rolling the dice a little bit. So we want to use a rate of perceived exertion rather than a 1 rep maximum or even a projection. And it's very similar. 1 would be the easiest ever. It was hardly any effort. It didn't cost me anything. I'm not sweating. I'm not exerted. It was easy. To 10, I could barely finish the reps. I could barely hold my perfect technique. I literally could not do another one. I was completely maxed out. You said 10. I barely made 10. I thought I was going to die. Okay. That's the scale, 1 to 10. So when we go through and say, hey, we're doing bent over rows between a 4 and a 6, we're probably going to be doing tempo work. The weight's going to be a little lighter on the medium side. We're doing that because it's dynamic, it's controlled, or whatnot. Or we're lifting something heavier. It's a 7 or an 8. Okay, we're loading up. Again, people are going to be challenged. They're barely going to make it. That's what we're looking at. So rule number 1, basic rule number 1 is, can the client simply perform the number of reps that I've asked? I need 12 reps here. Did they do 12 reps? Yes or no? There's no debating in here. It was they made it, they didn't make it. Can the client, number 2, perform the lifts with proper technique all the way through the set? So I think I just lost quite a few of you on the first one. You're like, of course they can always do what I asked them, but can they hold perfect technique all the way through it? So we're doing 12 reps on a deadlift. And at rep 8, I see the shoulders start to slouch over, the butt starts to tuck, the back starts to round. And as the coach, I say, hold your technique, tighten up. In rep number 9, they tighten up and they get back to the position and they keep going for 10, 11, 12. We made it, okay? Rep 8 comes, I say the same thing, round over again, 9, round over again, 10, stop. It's too heavy. I cannot coach you out of this mechanics. It's too heavy. We're going to get you hurt. It doesn't have to be perfect for every rep, but pretty damn near perfect. Remember, this is what we're being paid for. Our job is, number 1, do no harm. Job number 2, put our clients in the best possible positions to achieve their goals. So getting them injured because we want to strike up a new category or new percentage because we said, hey, we made this new lift, but you blew your back out in the act of it. What good does that do for any of us? Client's mad, trainer's mad, client doesn't return, client talks bad about trainer, says trainer doesn't know what he's doing, client defends, arguments online, blah, blah, blah. Everything goes wrong. So let's focus on the positives. Let's focus on smaller baby steps and just continually taking steps instead of trying to push the limit, really drive things home, and having a negative, very negative step backwards that could end up with a loss of client, a broken relationship, and badness all the way around. So proper technique must be maintained all the way through. And number 3, can the tempo that I'm asking for be maintained through every single rep I ask for with perfect technique? You said at the beginning, you have to have all 3. So my deadlift tempo is 2-to-1. You pick up 1, you come down in 1/1002. Touch the floor, up for 1, down 1/1002. By rep 8, it turns into 1, 2, 3 seconds up and crash back down 1. 1, 2, 3.5 seconds up, crash back down. What tempo did I want? Okay, you've got to come up faster. You have to control the down. Let's go for the next rep. 1, 2, 3, done. We're done. You can't do it. It's too heavy. I asked for a tempo. I asked for the technique. I asked for these reps. Negative, negative, negative. We're not making it on any. So if I'm asking for a 2-to-1 tempo, a 3-to-3 tempo, a 3-1-1, whatever it is, that tempo has to be achieved. And in many cases, when you put in tempo controls, weight goes way down because we start to see the 1-to-1 lift tempo that kind of dominates everything. Less than 1-to-1 for a lot of these. We're just banging out reps. It's great to be that strong. It's good to work on dynamic movement patterns, but are we really that strong? Can we say this is truly how much this client at this age can deadlift, row, bench press, overhead press, swing, etc.? Rate of perceived exertion has 3 simple rules. Can you do the reps I'm asking for? Can you hold the technique? Can you do the tempo? If you can't do those 3 things, you gotta